Welcome back, everybody. It is Saturday, June 16th, 2018, 1:27 p.m. Alright, no work today, so we're going to put out a little video for you guys. Right here I have a video pulled up. I put up yesterday, I believe, maybe the day before. This was from my phone, so the quality was a bit not so much up to par, so I apologize for that. I was trying to show you guys some of these exclusive pictures of the tornado that touched down in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, literally wiping out an entire strip mall that I frequent all the time. My parents are there all the time. My brother happens to be a firefighter in that area, so him and a buddy of his got some pictures that you won't see on the news. So we're going to get to those in a little bit, but first we're going to talk some weather. Got a lot going on, guys. We got some stuff going on in the South Caribbean. We have another tropical storm in the Pacific, which makes 3 in a row. So let's get on with this. We are going to be dealing with a heat wave for the next couple days. You can see this red area in the dead center of the country covering multiple states. We have some areas in the upper 90s. We have a lot of high 80s. And this is eventually going to shift up into the northeast. So the northeast, even though we are pretty mild right now, this will be one of our bigger heat waves of the summer. In my opinion, it will be a couple days. It's going to be hot. It's going to be dry. Not too much humidity, which actually helps. It helps a little bit. Sometimes it doesn't help, but regardless, we are looking at some very hot temperatures coming. Will be followed by a cold front, but that is later on. So here are your current temperatures for now. A few things to look out for. First, we'll talk about the continental U.S. We have a pretty decent-sized system up in Minnesota right now as we speak. Lots of rain. We got hail situations going on. We had record hailfall in Colorado. I saw some pictures of people holding up these pieces of hail that they literally looked like the size of softballs. So these hailstorms we've been getting have been pretty intense as far as the size and how quickly they just form. So let's back this up a little bit. Let's see where some of these are starting to form. If you notice down here in the bottom of the Caribbean, this is that tropical wave we're watching, and we're going to get into this in a few minutes. Really blowing up. I'm not sure that we will see this move into a cyclone, but nonetheless, this thing is packing a lot of moisture. It's looking like it wants to do that hook into the Texas area. Once we look at tropical tidbits, you'll be able to see some rotation as we get right to the border of Texas. Still some time to check that out and see exactly what's going to happen with that. I have another angle of this shot, which actually I'll just show you really quick. This is what we're dealing with here. If I back up here, you could see how this thing is just really blowing up over Cancun. Those dark black colors, that is severe moisture, guys. That is, when you see black, you know that there is something significant going on. You can see it starting to move up, and then you can see some of that force trying to pull it this way, which is why I mentioned that Texas might be on alert. Not so much for a hurricane, but for some significant rainfall. Certainly going to pack a punch with wind. We might see some hail. But this is a very big system. This would be the size of a couple states in the U.S. This is the last frame here, so you can see it's still producing moisture coming right out of that side of Mexico and then right up into the Gulf. And then we all know by experience, guys, once we get a system open in the Gulf with nothing but water around it, with our warm temperatures, anything can happen. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And then we have another little black area down here that needs to be watched as well. So we are going to continue watching this giant cell of a system here, these clinging thunderstorms, and we are going to keep you all posted without a doubt. So anyway, back to the U.S. So like I said, we have a lot of Minnesota covered with a severe storm that moves up into Canada, starting to strip down into the Great Lakes. So just not so much of a good situation up in the northern part of the U.S. We've got some moisture here in the Midwest that will eventually make its way across. Could be looking at a tornado situation in the upcoming days up in Tornado Alley. Here in this area. Florida, you will get rain from this system, whether it hooks left, whether it stays up straight, but those bands will come out. They will affect the Keys. They will affect South Florida. Just a lot of rain coming, guys, so we got to prepare for that. As you can see here on our county-to-county website, we have a heat advisory warning, and I showed you on the map that this area right here is just getting fried right now, and this is going to do a little bit of a dip under here, and then it's going to come up to the northeast for a northeast heat wave. So this is your county-by-county website. This is weather.gov for anyone that wants to check it out. You can see the lightning patterns are actually kind of above where those storms are going to be. So that would be considered our front. Again, this is going to dip down this way and then kind of get pushed up by the upflow coming from the Caribbean. As expected, these are live lightning strikes like we always talk about. Let's see here. All right, so our third tropical storm, third storm in a row for the Pacific Ocean. Carlotta is right here, tropical storm. 45 knots, 50 miles an hour, 1,000 as our pressure. It looks to already be clipping land. It might come and go pretty quickly, but nonetheless, pretty rare situation to have two Category 4 hurricanes followed by a third consecutive storm, which made it to the tropical storm level. So Pacific Ocean is really on fire right now. So that's where we're at as far as that goes. Here is our tropical index of intensity. Now, if you notice this, a lot of this, believe it or not, in my opinion and the opinion of a bunch of scientists, is due to the Sahara Desert sand. Now, I didn't pull that chart up. Maybe it's down here, actually. Let's just see if we can look at it. Here we go. This is the Sahara Desert sand. Now, we talk about this because a lot of people believe that the molecules in the sand and the stuff that's in the atmosphere once it leaves the land actually aids in storms forming. It helps these thunderstorms that come off the west coast of Africa, then come down through the islands here. The name has slipped me, I'm so sorry. But then we follow this warm water belt all the way to the Leeward Islands. And if you noticed over the last couple of weeks, we've been looking at this chart, and the sand would come to here, then it would reach out to here, and now we have sand that not only has made it all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, but up into the Caribbean, and then even into the Atlantic Ocean to the west of the Bahamas. So basically, the Sahara Desert sand can make its way halfway across the world, but the science is just not yet set in stone as far as it being the cause of why we get these storms. In my opinion, I believe it does aid in storms, absolutely. Anything that clings storms together will keep them together and allow them to strengthen as they roll in a counterclockwise motion towards the Leeward Islands. And then we got to figure out whether we're dealing with a Gulf storm or if we're going to be dealing with a storm that comes up the East Coast. The East Coast storms come a little bit later in the season, but as far as the weather has been the last couple of years, you never know what's going to happen. So we are watching this very closely. I got you pulled up here on Tropical Tidbits with the European model because they have been pretty accurate lately. Now, if we're set up for the 17th right now, which is tomorrow, but I'm going to back us up here really quick just so we can see. This was Hurricane Bud. So Hurricane Bud has made its way up into the Baja regions. It's going to saturate some areas up in the U.S. Nothing crazy, but certainly much needed rain. As we move forward, though, you're going to start to see a little bit of rotation and a little bit of things forming. Now, we're looking right here. Now, this is what I wanted to show you. That big red blob we showed you on this chart here. This is where that is going to come from. So, again, like I said, they think that this moisture system is going to come up into the Gulf and then kind of hook in this direction. And now, according to Tropical Tidbits, that's when we're going to start seeing some of the rotation is right by Texas, which could make things pretty interesting for the coast there. That also stretches down into Mexico. So you can kind of get an idea of why it's like a day-to-day basis with some of these storms as to where they're going to go and why they're going to go there. So by the 22nd, we can see that final rotation beginning. Again, it's hard to say if this is going to become a cyclone. It sure does look by this chart and the European model that this does become some sort of a cyclone situation. As that blob, we are calling it, starts from here, it's going to move up and then it's going to hook this way. Now, any little change in the shear wind, a little bit of movement from the jet stream, that could change all of this. So that's why these next couple days are crucial between the 16th today and the 22nd, when they predict that this thing will be right along the edge of Mexico here and the bottom south end of Texas. So Hey guys, that's what we need to look out for. I mean, that's the data we're provided, and that's what we're going to keep an eye out. So, once again, here is another version of Tropical Tidbits, another European model. We could see Bud here as it makes its way into the Baja. As we move forward here, you can see that tropical wave pop up right there. And then we're going to move forward a little more, and then there you have it right there again on our far out view. They're showing that that blob is going to move up and then kind of just border the southern area of Texas and Mexico, regardless, bringing rain to that southern part of Texas. So those of you in Texas, especially those of you that are fans of Thor News, I highly recommend you check his channel out. He is from Texas, so anything that goes near Texas, that man is all over it. Wonderful channel. We had some confusion between him and I with subs jumping from channel to channel, talking about you know, information being stolen and misused and this and that. Guys, we got to understand, when we're reporting weather here, we are all using the same data. We're putting in our own 2 cents. There's no competition going on. I have nothing but respect for Thor News. I've been watching him for a long time. I recommend you guys all the time to go check out his channel when I am not available to be here. We may have difference in opinions here and there, but nonetheless, we are here to help you guys, and that is why we do this. So, in the near future, we have not set this in stone yet, but I would love to do some work with him, and I'm sure you guys would enjoy to see what we can do together as a team to try to warn the people of the weather and just, you know, put things in more simple terms for those of you that watch the Weather Channel and just don't understand what they're talking about. That's why we're here. We're here to talk to you personally and to help you be prepared for things like this to happen, because it's just a matter of time before the Gulf and the Atlantic Ocean up the East Coast are really going to be firing up with these storms. It usually happens later on in the season. July, August, September is that hot time for the Atlantic hurricanes. Right now, the Pacific is taking over all the attention, but as you guys can see, the Caribbean is heating up. Our tropical index is really showing a lot of activity that we should be expecting. Sorry, I'm jumping around with these tabs here. I'm just trying to get to the right one for once. But anyway, so that's the Tropical Tidbits idea as of right now. You can see how it kind of wants to... It goes north and then kind of dips back down south and then kind of shoots into Mexico. We all know that can change, but then again, just look at the formation we have here. That is a significant amount of water, and if it's halfway in the water, halfway on land, it's basically a refuel situation. If it's spinning counterclockwise, it might die down a little bit as it gets inland, but then as we come back out, it picks up that moisture, especially the humid moisture down in the Gulf, and then could continue to be strengthened and come back in. That's exactly what Harvey did. Harvey came up this was a storm last year, came up into Texas, kind of did a lot of damage. It backed back out, refueled, and then did a double hit. So there is no telling what these storms are capable of doing. Now, one more time, I just want to look at this before we get into the tornado pictures. And you could see here that this is just a very serious blob of moisture, guys. This is a very serious cell, and we got to keep an eye on it. So that's what we're going to do now. All right, as far as the tornado in Wilkes-Barre, this is a picture from the news. It gives you a very good idea of this strip mall. I shop at this Lowe's, I can't tell you how many times. This is a parking lot. I've probably parked in every one of these spots here. We got the 5 and Below store here. We got Ultra over here. This is actually a Staples area, which totally got destroyed. We had a budget truck lot that got completely decimated. And now I just want to show you a few pictures that I tried to... make a little bit better quality for you guys. These are pictures you won't see on the news. My brother took these, and a buddy of his took these who worked for the fire department. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to zoom in on these, and we're going to take a look. This is just half of a building that toppled over. You got cars in the parking lot here. You can see a fireman standing here, crews on the ground as we speak. Still today, there's some drone shots I want to show you guys as well. Got that fire hose here, so they are on site. They've been there for the last 2 or 3 days now. This is the one I used in the thumbnail. You can see the U-Haul truck is completely uplifted and then sitting on top of another U-Haul truck. fire crew there on spot. One of these actually might be my brother. Yeah, guys, this was a pretty serious situation. A lot of people are still talking about this in town. Very, very rare to get a tornado, which was actually said to be an F2 tornado. There were 6 injuries as of right now. And again, I was in this area the day of, and I had just left before this happened. So, just, you know, it's just very rare when you live in a state like Pennsylvania to be talking not so much about a tornado, but the fact that it actually hit your hometown in a place where you usually do not get tornadoes. So you could just see the power of this thing. Flipped over cars. Most of the damage was in this strip mall. It did extend past the strip mall, but the brunt of the damage and these pictures you're seeing are all in this one parking lot. Flipped over cars. This is the front of the mall entrance. I don't know why it won't let me zoom in on that picture, but there we go. This is the front of the mall entrance, broken glass everywhere. These are chunks of the building, guys. This is a very sturdy building. They were actually trying to figure out whether or not the tornado actually touched down, let alone ripped buildings apart, and it looks to me like it touched down. In fact, I think they confirmed that it was a touchdown. There are some pictures out there of the funnel cloud itself. It was dark out, so the only time you could really see it was when the lightning was striking. But I'm just glad I'm able to share these shots with you guys. I know the quality last video was not good. The audio wasn't good. I was recording the video from my phone with a pair of really bad headphones. So the other side of these you could see off frame on the this part of the picture, all fell down and crumbled. So they're going to be doing a lot of repairs for a long time in this strip mall, and it's one of the bigger ones in the area. So a lot of people shop here. So it's going to cause a lot of inconvenience for a while. We did look at this picture. Maybe this one's a little bit more of a clear image you could see. But just look at that, guys. U-Haul trucks flipped up, upside down, leaning on each other. You know, when this stuff hits home, it's just a whole different story. So the Barnes & Nobles also. Barnes & Nobles completely destroyed. They got to redo this entire building. The whole front canopy here actually collapsed. This is actually supposed to be up higher, right along top here of the Barnes & Nobles logo. A little bit of a dark picture. Sorry about that. But again, these are all exclusive pictures. These are not on the news. You did not see these anywhere else but here. This is the inside of a restaurant in that area. You could see the windows blew out. The wind got in there, took everything out. And this was an EF2 tornado. So it gives you a, you know, you just think about it. You talk about EF3s, EF4s, EF5s, and then you're just like, wow, now I understand why when you see these tornadoes, why you see roofs and houses and stuff spinning in circles in the air. So a lot going on in the weather here, guys. So I appreciate the patience as I tried to get that video out yesterday. I know a lot of you were talking about the audio and this and that. I try to get the info out as quick as I can, guys, whether the quality is there or not. It's all about warning people and letting them know. And I know for a fact there was not much warning when this came. I remember seeing a chart released by WBRE, which is the local news station from Wilkes-Barre. They listed a bunch of towns and counties, and they gave minutes of how long it would take before the tornado got there. And I think the longest given time to prepare was about 4.5 minutes. The exact town I'm from, which I'm not going to really name, but the town that I'm from actually had a 2-minute warning. Luckily, the town that I'm from is on a higher part of the valley of the hill, so it's hard for these storms to get up that high. This is one of the lower areas of the valley, so that is why the damage was done here. So I hope I covered everything, guys. I'm sorry it took me so long to get this video out, but we are watching the Caribbean for a possible cyclone formation, and then in the coming weeks, guys, expect to see a lot more action going on in the Caribbean because it is firing up. It is very warm. We got that heat wave moving across. We got significant storms up in the mid part of the continental U.S. We have big moisture systems still rolling in the northwest that do eventually make their way across the U.S. and then become major systems for the northeast. So, okay, a lot of information in a video, guys. I'll let you go now. Like I said, I'm off today, so I will be covering other stories I've been wanting to talk about, and any developments with this stuff, especially Carlotta, I believe it's pronounced. We'll be talking about this as well. So I hope everyone's having a great weekend. If you have any of this weather heading towards your way, please either check out my channel, check out channels like Thor News, very reliable source. And yeah, guys, enough of this this competition stuff. Thor News is a great guy. He puts his heart and soul into all his videos, as you can see. Wonderful editor, gets out great information, and this is not about competition. This is about getting info out to people, helping each other. So in the near future, if you see us doing a video together, I highly recommend you watch, because the information is very accurate. We don't exaggerate stuff. We want you to know exactly what's going on at all times, and that is why we're here. So I appreciate the support, guys. If you get a chance, go over to Thor News, thank him. He is one of my inspirations to do this channel. BP Earthwatch, a lot of guys out there are the reason why I finally took on this channel. So like I said, I got a family of firefighters and I got a family of meteorologists, so it's a passion of mine. We're not going anywhere. We are going to actually bump this up. We're going to talk more about this stuff as we head into July, August, and September. We all know that, especially here last year, that is prime time hurricane time for the Caribbean, and we're not going to miss a beat. That much I can promise you. And that's it for now, guys. Again, I hope you all have a great weekend. We'll get through this weather, and we'll meet back here in a couple hours, all right? Everyone take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.